The scene opens on a desolate alien world, its atmosphere thick with a haunting orange hue that seems to soak into the very landscape. A landscape so alien that the creatures of this planet move in ways that baffle the mind. Towering trees with strange, twisting branches stand against a cloud-filled sky, and the ground is covered in thick, spongy moss that squelches beneath heavy boots. Amidst all this, a deadly chase is unfolding. A rare and beautiful alien animal, the creature known as HFY, is being relentlessly pursued by a group of poachers. The HFY is not just any creature. Its sleek, shimmering body glows faintly in the dim light, and its eyes are filled with an intelligence that surpasses even the most evolved creatures. It possesses powerful abilities, able to manipulate the environment around it, shifting the air, influencing its surroundings to survive. Its beauty and power have made it a prime target for those who wish to exploit its strange and formidable traits. The poachers, a group of technologically advanced mercenaries from a faraway galaxy, are here not out of curiosity but for profit. They use highly advanced tracking devices, drones, and weapons to capture their prey. The HFY, once peaceful and free, is now the object of a gruesome hunt. It runs through the alien forest, moving with an unnatural speed, but its strength is beginning to fade. The poachers are closing in, and with each passing minute, its chances of survival grow slimmer. From a distance, unseen by the poachers, a lone figure watches the scene unfold. The human protagonist, a soldier from Earth named Jonathan Jace, is perched in the branches of a nearby tree. Jace had arrived on this alien planet, tasked with an entirely different mission, but what he saw in the distance caught his attention. He was here to do his job, track down a lost human colony, but the sight of the majestic HFY in distress struck something deep within him. As a soldier, he had faced countless dangers, but his humanity wasn't lost. He could see that the creature wasn't just another dangerous beast to be hunted for sport. It was a living being with emotions, intelligence, and a will to survive. He watches as the poachers close in, setting up traps and trying to corner the creature. The HFY struggles, its energy fading. The poachers' drones hover above, scanning every movement, locking onto every step the animal takes. One of the poachers, a tall, menacing figure wearing sleek, black armor, raises his weapon and prepares to fire. The human soldier's heart races. This wasn't just an ordinary hunt. It was a massacre in the making. Jace's mind races. Should he act? Should he just stay hidden and let the poachers deal with it? But his instincts screamed for him to do something. This wasn't just about a mission anymore. It was about doing what was right. The HFY needed help, and fast. He takes a deep breath and activates his cloaking device, becoming invisible to the naked eye. Using his speed and stealth, he carefully moves through the dense alien foliage. His training as a soldier had honed his senses to their peak, and now he relied on every bit of it. He knew he didn't have the advanced technology or the firepower that the poachers had, but he had something they didn't: human determination and a heart full of compassion. Jace watches as the poachers close in for the final strike. With no more time to lose, he decides that he will act. He scans the area around him. Finding a small gap in the poacher's security net, he darts forward, moving like a shadow in the night, every step calculated. He reaches a position where he can see the HFY up close for the first time. The creature's golden eyes meet his, filled with confusion and fear, but also a flicker of hope. Jace doesn't wait for an invitation. He acts swiftly, throwing a small, high-tech smoke grenade that bursts in the air, filling the clearing with dense, choking smoke. The poachers are momentarily disoriented, their sensors flickering with confusion as they try to regain control of the situation. In this moment of chaos, Jace lunges forward, grabbing that HFY and pulling it into the cover of the trees. He moves quickly, using the thick branches as his shield, while the poachers scramble to reposition themselves. The HFY, though weakened, reacts instinctively and follows Jace, its energy flaring just enough to keep up. The two move through the underbrush, the poachers' angry shouts and the whirring of their drones filling the air behind them. For a moment, everything goes silent. Jace and the Typhor are hidden, but he knows they can't stay here forever. He glances down at the creature, its glossy body shimmering faintly in the darkness. Jace can see that it's struggling to breathe, its once fluid movements now slow and labored. The poachers would be relentless in their pursuit, and he couldn't keep this up forever. But one thing Jace knows for sure: he couldn't let this creature die here. Not when he had the chance to save it. The human soldier feels his pulse quicken as he realizes the full weight of the decision he's just made. He doesn't have the resources to fight a group of armed mercenaries alone, but he has to try. He swallows his fear and tells the creature in a low voice, "Hold on, we're not done yet." The Typhor seems to understand, its glowing eyes locking with his. For a moment, it's as if the two of them share the same understanding. This fight isn't just for survival. It's a fight for something greater. Jace isn't just saving a creature. He's fighting for the survival of a species that might have been hunted to extinction if he doesn't act now. He stands, taking a deep breath, and begins to formulate a plan. There's no turning back. His resources are limited, just a few grenades, a couple of drones, and a small arsenal of low-tech weapons, but he knows he can use them wisely. He will have to outsmart the poachers, not outgun them. The first thing he needs is a distraction, something to divert their attention long enough to get the Typhor to safety. But he also knows that in this moment he's no longer alone. The Typhor may be weak, but it still has its powerful abilities. He can feel the creature's energy beginning to return, its natural survival instincts kicking in. It might be the key to taking down the poachers and escaping this nightmare. As the poachers draw closer, the tension builds to an unbearable level. Every step Jace takes is measured. Every breath is held. The chase isn't over. In fact, it's only just beginning. And with that, the story shifts into full gear. The human soldier and the alien creature, an unlikely pair, will face down the deadliest of enemies, proving that even in the darkest moments, hope can be found in the most unexpected of places. The tense moment in the thick alien forest has finally reached its boiling point. Jace, the human soldier, is now fully committed to saving the Typhor, the beautiful and rare alien creature he's only just met, but already feels a deep bond with. The poachers are closing in, and time is running out. The once peaceful creature, now cornered and exhausted, looks to Jace with those glowing eyes that seem to say, "Help me." Jace glances around, his mind racing. He doesn't have the advanced weaponry the poachers possess, but he knows the forest better than they do. And he knows how to think outside the box. As the poachers inch closer, Jace activates his cloaking device, turning invisible. The faint hum of the device is the only indication that he's still there. He darts between the trees, moving quietly but with purpose. His eyes scan the poachers' positions. He's calculating, thinking strategically. The poachers, unaware of his presence, continue their hunt. They don't realize that they've just walked into a trap. Jace doesn't need to overpower them. He just needs to outsmart them. The forest itself is his ally, and with each move, he uses the environment to his advantage. He triggers a series of small automated drones he's been carrying, sending them up into the air to scout and distract the poachers. The drones hover silently, moving quickly to avoid detection, creating enough confusion for Jace to strike. Suddenly, Jace reappears, cloaking device deactivated. He charges at one of the poachers, knocking him off balance and pushing him into the thick foliage. The poacher struggles to get back on his feet, but Jace is already gone, moving swiftly to another position. The first attack was quick, clean, and efficient. Now the poachers realize they're not dealing with a helpless human. They're up against a soldier who knows exactly what he's doing. Jace isn't here to kill. He's here to win. His strategy is simple: disarm, confuse, and delay. As he moves from one poacher to another, he uses his environment to set traps. One of the poachers steps onto a hidden pressure plate, triggering a snare that pulls him off his feet. Another poacher turns to see his comrade incapacitated, but before he can react, Jace is upon him. A swift punch to the jaw sends the second poacher crashing to the ground. The remaining poachers realize they've underestimated their opponent. They start to regroup, but Jace is always one step ahead. He's fast, and with every move, his confidence grows. The poachers may have superior technology, but Jace has something they can't replicate: resourcefulness. He uses a smoke grenade, creating a thick cloud of vapor that clouds their vision. The poachers struggle to coordinate their efforts, disoriented and vulnerable. Meanwhile, the Typhor, its energy beginning to return, watches Jace with growing trust. It's no longer just a creature running for its life. It's an ally, trying to survive alongside him. The bond between the two deepens. As Jace fights off the poachers, the Typhor helps, using its abilities to manipulate the environment around them, creating barriers of shifting air, redirecting attacks, and even confusing the poachers' sensors. The battle rages on, but Jace knows they can't keep this up forever. The poachers are calling for reinforcements. The sound of hovering ships grows louder in the distance. Jace knows that if they don't move soon, they'll be surrounded by too many enemies to fight off. He turns to the Typhor, locking eyes with the creature. It's clear that they understand each other now. They're both fighting for survival and for something greater than themselves. "Stay close," Jace murmurs, his voice low but steady. The Typhor nods, its glowing body flickering in agreement. Suddenly, the air shifts. The poachers' reinforcements arrive in the form of sleek, armored ships descending from the sky, their engines roaring as they break through the atmosphere. Jace's heart races as he sees the shadow of one ship looming overhead. The poachers are calling in air support, and soon they'll have the upper hand. The terrain around them is rugged, and they're trapped in a narrow canyon, surrounded by towering cliffs on either side. The air feels dense, heavy, as if the whole world is closing in on them. The poachers' ships begin to unload, firing laser blasts that strike the canyon walls, causing massive explosions. The sound is deafening, and the ground shakes violently underfoot. The shockwaves from the explosions create dust clouds that obscure visibility. Jace and the Typhor take cover, ducking behind jagged rocks and the uneven terrain, but they know it's only a matter of time before the poachers find them again. Jace's mind races as he scans the area. The narrow canyon provides little escape, and the air support is relentless. The explosions grow louder, sending debris flying in all directions. Rocks crumble, and the canyon walls tremble, sending echoes through the air. The poachers have the firepower to level the entire area, and if Jace doesn't act fast, they'll be caught in the crossfire. In this moment, everything depends on quick thinking. Jace pulls out his last remaining smoke grenades and hurls them towards the approaching ships. The grenades explode in a series of blinding flashes, sending the air into chaos. For a split second, the poachers' ships lose their lock on the targets. In that fleeting moment, Jace takes a deep breath, grabbing the Typhor and sprinting toward a narrow passageway at the far end of the canyon. As they race through the smoke, the air is thick with tension. The sound of gunfire and explosions rages behind them, but they press on. Every step is calculated, every breath shallow as Jace pushes himself harder. The Typhor, though weakened, follows closely behind. The two are like shadows in the smoke, moving in unison, side by side. But just as it seems they might escape, the ground trembles beneath them again. A massive explosion erupts behind them, shaking the canyon to its core. The shockwave hits with enough force to knock them both off balance. Jace stumbles, barely keeping his feet under him. He looks back, seeing the poachers' ships closing in again. It's a desperate race now, escape or die trying. In that moment, something clicks inside Jace. He knows that he can't outrun the poachers forever. The only way out is to fight, to turn the tables, and use the environment to his advantage. The canyon walls are narrow, but they provide cover. The rocks are unstable, and the poachers' ships are vulnerable to debris. Jace spots a loose boulder above them, teetering precariously on the edge of the canyon. He makes a quick decision. With a sharp gesture to the Typhor, he uses a small explosive charge he had kept for emergencies, planting it just beneath the rock. He steps back, nods at the creature, and then the two of them take cover as the boulder comes crashing down, sending a massive wave of rock and debris tumbling down on the poachers below. The explosion is deafening, and the poachers' ship screech to a halt. The path is now clear. Jace looks at the Typhor. The bond between them solidified in this moment of life-or-death teamwork. They'd just won their first battle, but the war is far from over. The air feels still for a moment, the dust settling as the canyon quiets down. But in the distance, Jace knows the poachers are regrouping. There's no time to rest. They've won the first fight, but they've only just begun the fight for their survival. The harsh winds blow through the canyon as Jace looks back at the chaotic scene they just escaped. The poachers' ships are regrouping, and the situation is far from over. Jace feels a sense of urgency as he takes a moment to check on the Typhor, the alien creature that has been the center of this deadly hunt. Its glowing eyes flicker faintly, but there's still fear in them. It has no idea who Jace is or why he's been helping it. But one thing is certain. Without his intervention, the Typhor would have been lost forever. Jace's heart pounds in his chest as he reaches out, placing a hand gently on the creature's sleek, shimmering side. He's risking his life for something he barely understands, but the bond that's been growing between them feels undeniable. The Typhor looks at him, its intelligent eyes now more trusting than before. It's starting to realize that Jace isn't its enemy, and despite all its instincts telling it to run, it understands that the human isn't a threat. In this moment, Jace knows that the creature's survival depends on him, and his survival depends on it. The world around them is a battleground, with poachers still on their tail, and the ship reinforcements closing in. Jace can hear the sounds of engines in the distance, the poachers' ships sweeping through the air above them, searching for any sign of movement. The stakes have never been higher. But Jace knows that they have to keep moving. They can't afford to get caught now. "Stay close," Jace murmurs, pulling out a small device from his belt and activating a series of high-tech drones. The drones zip into the air, scanning the surrounding terrain. They'll keep watch for any incoming threats, and Jace hopes they can help him get the Typhor to safety. He can feel the weight of the situation on his shoulders. He's not only fighting to protect this alien animal, but also trying to get them both out of the poacher's grip. The Typhor is still recovering from the ordeal, but with its energy beginning to return, Jace feels a renewed sense of hope. They just need to make it to the safe zone, a fortified location he had mapped earlier, where the Typhor can be treated and protected. It's their only chance. But getting there won't be easy. Jace hears the sounds of footsteps approaching from behind. He knows the poachers aren't far off, and they won't stop until they've captured their prize. With a quick glance at the Typhor, Jace signals for it to stay low. The alien creature complies, crouching down behind a large rock, its body blending into the environment, making it nearly invisible. Jace knows they need to get out of this exposed position. The poachers are too close, and they'll be here any minute. He looks at his drones, and they're still scouting the area, sending real-time data to his visor. One of them spots movement up ahead, poachers moving toward their location. "We don't have much time," Jace mutters, his voice low but steady. He looks at the Typhor, now crouching and waiting, and a strange sense of connection surges through him. The alien is no longer just an animal. It's an ally, a partner in this fight for survival. The poachers move closer, and Jace knows they have to act quickly. He crouches low and pulls out a small explosive charge from his pack, planting it near a pile of rocks just ahead of their path. The plan is simple, distract the poachers long enough for them to slip past undetected. With a deep breath, Jace signals to the HFY. "Follow me," he whispers, and they begin to move, stealthily creeping along the canyon walls, staying hidden as much as possible. The poachers pass by, unaware of their presence. Jace holds his breath as he waits for the perfect moment. His fingers twitch, ready to set off the explosive. The poachers are close now, just a few meters away. The tension in the air is thick, and Jace knows that if they're caught, there's no way out. But he's calm. He's done this before. He trusts his instincts, and in that moment, he trusts the HFY too. The poachers are only a few steps away when Jace triggers the explosive. A loud explosion rips through the air, sending a massive cloud of dust and debris into the sky. The poachers are momentarily stunned, and Jace takes advantage of the chaos. He pulls the HFY toward him, and they dash through the smoke, sprinting as fast as they can toward the narrow escape route he's mapped out. The poachers' ships are still overhead, and they're beginning to react to the explosion, firing into the canyon in an attempt to flush them out. But Jace and the HFY are already moving quickly, using the cover of smoke and debris to stay hidden. They're almost there, but the poachers are regrouping faster than Jace anticipated. The odds are against them. As they near the safe zone, the HFY's energy continues to grow stronger. Jace can feel it, the connection between them becoming more palpable. It's no longer just about surviving. It's about trust. The HFY is beginning to believe in him, and in turn, Jace is beginning to believe in the creature. It's as if their fates are now intertwined, their survival a shared goal. But just as they reach the final stretch, they're confronted by a group of heavily armed poachers blocking their way. There's no way around them. The poachers have set up a barricade, and there's nowhere to hide. Jace's heart races, but he doesn't falter. He's been in worse situations, and he's not about to let it end here. Without hesitation, Jace orders his drones to engage, launching a series of rapid strikes at the poachers' equipment, disabling their weapons and causing chaos. It's enough of a distraction for Jace and the HFY to make their move. The HFY leaps into action, using its natural abilities to create barriers of shifting energy, deflecting incoming attacks. Jace takes advantage of the chaos, charging forward with his own weapon drawn. The battle is intense, but Jace fights with determination. He's not just fighting for survival now. He's fighting for the creature he's come to care for the bond they've formed. Through the chaos, Jace finally reaches the poachers and takes them down one by one, using his speed and strategy to outmaneuver them. The HFY helps, using its energy manipulation to create openings for Jace to exploit. Together, they make an unstoppable team. As the last poacher falls, the dust begins to settle. Jace looks around, panting from the exertion. The danger isn't over, but they've won this battle. The HFY, once a frightened creature running from its pursuers, now stands tall beside him, a silent ally, no longer in fear. Jace smiles, the adrenaline still coursing through his veins. He's done it. He's saved the HFY, and in doing so, he's formed a bond that goes beyond words. As they make their way toward the safe zone, Jace knows that this is just the beginning. They've been through hell together, and they've made it out alive. The bond between them is forged in fire, and nothing will ever break it. The battle isn't over, but they've taken the first step. Together, the sound of approaching ships fills the air, each engine hum louder than the last. Jace's heart pounds in his chest as the ground trembles beneath him. He can feel it. The final wave of poachers is coming. His eyes narrow as he surveys the landscape ahead, watching as the enemy ships descend toward the canyon. He knows this will be the battle to end it all, and the odds are stacked against him. The HFY stands beside him, its sleek form poised and ready. There's no fear in its eyes now. No longer a helpless creature, the HFY has become an ally, its power matching Jace's resolve. The bond between them is undeniable. In this final battle, they fight together, not just for survival, but for the future of this alien world and the creatures within it. Jace tightens his grip on the blaster at his side. The weapon hums to life, its sleek design glowing in the low light of the canyon. He taps a few buttons on his wrist console, activating the fleet of combat drones hovering above. Their eye-powered systems light up with precision, the humming of their engines a sign that they're ready to assist. The poachers' ships descend, and their weapons charge. It's a show of force, a warning that they'll stop at nothing to claim their prize. But Jace's nerves remain steady. He's fought in worse battles, and this one feels different. This time, it's personal. This time, he's not alone. The first wave of poachers charges, their weapons opening fire in a hailstorm of energy blasts. Jace doesn't hesitate. His combat drones swoop down, laser beams cutting through the air, disabling enemy craft with pinpoint accuracy. The poachers' ships start to explode, but their forces keep coming. Jace pushes forward, using his advanced cloaking device to sneak past enemy lines. He moves like a shadow, appearing out of nowhere to take down one poacher after another. His movements are fast, precise, and calculated. His training has prepared him for this moment, but it's his instincts, his raw courage, that keep him moving forward. He doesn't stop to check if the drones are following him. He trusts they're doing their job. The poachers are relentless, but Jace has one thing they don't: heart. He doesn't fight for profit, or fame, or glory. He fights for survival, for the Typhor, for the innocent creatures who are being hunted for their beauty and strength. The poachers are starting to realize they've underestimated him. They thought a single human would be easy to eliminate, but they didn't account for the fact that Jace isn't just any human. He's an Earth soldier, equipped with the latest technology, and armed with the courage to face impossible odds. Jace dives into a roll behind a rock as another round of fire lights up the canyon. The ground shakes with the impact of their weapons. He peers around the corner, eyes scanning for any sign of the Typhor. He spots the alien animal in the distance, using its energy manipulation powers to shield itself from the enemy's fire. Jace smiles. The Typhor is becoming more confident, more powerful with each passing minute. Together, they're a force to be reckoned with. Just then, a massive explosion erupts in the distance, sending debris flying through the air. Jace's visor alerts him to the incoming threat. An enemy heavy tank is making its way toward their position. It's well armored, armed with enough firepower to wipe them out in seconds. Jace grits his teeth and signals for his drones to engage. The battle intensifies as the tank fires, its lasers tearing through the rock formations. Jace leaps into action, using his speed and agility to dodge the incoming blasts. He can feel the heat of the lasers as they cut through the air, but he doesn't flinch. The drones are closing in, their laser beams flashing in the sky as they strike at the tank. But the enemy vehicle is tough, its armor resistant to most of the attacks. Jace knows they need to get closer, strike hard, and fast. He dives toward the tank, using his cloaking device to remain invisible to the enemy. As he closes in, the tank's massive cannon swings toward him. It's a split-second decision. Jace leaps into the air, dodging the blast, and landing right on top of the tank. His heart races as he pulls out his last remaining explosive charges and plants them on the vehicle's weak points. The timer starts, and Jace rolls off the tank just as it fires another round into the canyon. The explosion is deafening. The tank erupts in a cloud of smoke and fire, its power core detonating in a blinding flash. Jace shields his eyes as the shockwave pushes him back. His heart pounds in his chest, but he doesn't have time to stop. He's still in the middle of the fight. The poachers are getting more aggressive now. They're desperate. They know that if they don't stop him now, they'll lose everything. But Jace doesn't give them the satisfaction of seeing fear. He charges into the fray, his weapon blazing as he takes down poacher after poacher. Each shot is accurate, each move calculated. He moves with a purpose, his instincts guiding him through the chaos. Behind him, The Cypher continues to unleash its powers. The alien creature is becoming more adept at using its energy-based abilities to protect itself and Jace. With a wave of its hand, it sends blasts of energy that knock back the remaining poachers, leaving them stunned and disoriented. It's clear that the Typhor isn't just a creature to be protected. It's a partner, an equal in this battle. Jace and the Typhor fight side by side, their movements synchronized as if they've been training together for years. The poachers have no idea what they're up against. Jace's drones are constantly on the move, taking out enemy craft in the sky, while the Cypher's energy blasts keep the enemy on their toes. The battle is a whirlwind of laser fire, explosions, and high-tech combat. Every second feels like a lifetime. The intensity of the battle reaches its peak as the final poachers emerge from their ships. They're heavily armed, their advanced armor nearly impenetrable. But Jace isn't intimidated. He knows that he has the upper hand. With the Typhor by his side, there's no enemy they can't defeat. In a final push, Jace orders his drones to deliver a series of powerful EMP blasts, disabling the remaining poachers' weapons and armor. The battlefield goes silent for a moment as the poachers stagger, disoriented. Jace and the Typhor move in quickly, taking down the remaining enemies with precision strikes. It's over. The poachers are defeated. Jace stands over the wreckage, breathing heavily, but with a sense of victory. The canyon is littered with the remains of the poachers' ships and equipment. The Typhor, though still injured, stands tall beside him. There's no fear in its eyes now, only respect. It's become more than just an ally. It's a friend, a partner in this fight for survival. As the sun sets on the battlefield, Jace looks over at the alien creature, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. They've won. Against all odds, they've come out on top. But Jace knows this is only the beginning. There will always be more battles, more challenges ahead. But with the Typhor by his side, he's ready for whatever comes next. Together, they'll face the future as a united front, undefeated and unstoppable. The smoke of battle still clings to the air, and the dust settles over the canyon like a shroud. The poachers have been defeated, their forces scattered, their ships burning in the distance. Jace stands in the middle of the wreckage, his heart heavy as he surveys the scene. Victory should bring relief, but all he feels is emptiness. His best friend, Kai, lies not far from him, his body battered and lifeless. Kai had been by Jace's side through every mission, every dangerous fight. They had trained together, fought together, and survived countless battles side by side. But in this final assault, Kai had made the ultimate sacrifice. He had given his life to ensure Jace and the Typhor could escape the trap set by the poachers. Jace kneels beside his fallen friend, his eyes lingering on the face that had always been there to back him up. The memories flood his mind, laughing together after their first successful mission, strategizing late into the night, and sharing stories of their families and dreams. Kai had always been the brave one, the one who believed in the mission when others doubted. He had the heart of a warrior, and he had proven it by giving everything to save his team. The weight of loss hits Jace like a punch to the gut. He feels it in his chest, this aching void that nothing can fill. He had always known that this life, this battle, would come with a cost. But knowing it and experiencing it are two different things. The silence around him feels deafening, and the realization that his friend is gone is something he can't seem to shake. Jace stands, his legs heavy beneath him. He's a soldier, yes, but he's also human. And right now, all he feels is the weight of that humanity. He wants to scream, to rage at the universe for taking his friend away. But he doesn't. He has learned over the years that showing weakness doesn't help anyone. He has to be strong, for himself, for his team, and for the creature who now stands beside him. The Typhor, once a frightened animal, now looks at him with something close to reverence. The alien creature approaches cautiously, its eyes soft and filled with gratitude. It doesn't speak, but the bond between them is undeniable. The Sci-Fi has seen Jace's loyalty, his strength, and now it understands the depth of his sacrifice. Jace feels a sudden wave of guilt wash over him. This victory, hard-won and bitter, has come at the expense of a life he couldn't save. He had promised himself that no one would be left behind, that he would do whatever it took to protect his team. And yet, here he is, standing over the body of his best friend, questioning everything. The Sci-Fi seems to sense his turmoil. It reaches out with one of its long, graceful limbs, touching Jace's shoulder gently. It's a gesture of comfort, one that Jace doesn't fully understand but feels all the same. The alien has been through its own traumas, its own losses. It knows what it's like to lose someone or something dear. For a moment, the world around them disappears. Jace doesn't see the wreckage, the smoke, or the bodies of the fallen poachers. All he sees is the Sci-Fi, its eyes filled with gratitude and trust. It's as if the creature understands the depth of his grief. In this alien world, where Jace is the stranger, the Sci-Fi has become his ally, his friend. And despite the pain, Jace finds comfort in that bond. He takes a deep breath, trying to steady himself. He knows that this is what Kai would have wanted. His friend would want him to keep going, to honor his sacrifice by ensuring the mission is completed. But the emotional cost is something that will stay with him forever. Every victory has a price, and Jace has just paid the highest one. The poachers are gone, but their legacy lingers in the form of the pain that still clings to Jace's heart. His mind keeps replaying the moments before Kai's death, the moment when Kai had pushed him out of harm's way, taking the brunt of the explosion meant for them both. The moment when Jace had seen his best friend fall, his body crumpling to the ground in slow motion. Jace had tried to reach him, but it had been too late. Kai was already gone. The silence that follows feels like a weight on Jace's chest. He had made a promise to protect everyone, but now he wonders if he had failed. He tries to push the thought aside, focusing on the task at hand. There's still work to be done. The Sci-Fi needs to be taken to safety, and the mission must be completed. But the feeling of loss is suffocating. He wonders if he'll ever be able to shake it. As Jace begins to gather his equipment and prepare for the next stage of their journey, the Sci-Fi stays close by. Its presence is comforting, a reminder that despite the pain, Jace isn't truly alone. The creature looks at him with eyes full of understanding, and for the first time, Jace doesn't feel like a soldier on a battlefield. He feels like a person who has lost something precious, but who is still standing, still moving forward. The Sci-Fi's actions are a testament to the bond they've formed. The alien animal, once a frightened and distrustful being, now follows Jace's every movement. Its movements are more fluid, more confident, as if it has finally found someone it can trust. Jace wonders if the Sci-Fi feels the same weight of loss, the same burden of sacrifice that he does. He doesn't know. But what he does know is that the Sci-Fi is no longer just an alien creature. It's an ally, a friend, and that gives Jace a sense of purpose, even in the midst of his grief. Together, Jace and the Sci-Fi leave the battlefield, walking toward an uncertain future. The road ahead is still fraught with danger, and the poachers may not be the only threat they face. But for now, Jace has a renewed sense of determination. He will honor his friend's memory by finishing what they started. He will fight for the future, for the Sci-Fi, and for all the lives that still need protection. And as they walk side by side, the bond between them grows stronger. Jace knows that no matter what comes next, he is not alone. He has found something worth fighting for, and with the Sci-Fi by his side, he knows they can face whatever challenges lie ahead. Together, they are stronger. Together, they will prevail. As the sun sets behind them, Jace feels the weight of the loss, but also the strength of the bond that has been forged in battle. Victory has come at a high cost, but it has also brought something else, a connection that neither of them will ever forget. And in that connection, Jace finds the strength to keep moving forward. The journey isn't over yet, and with the Sci-Fi at his side, Jace knows they will continue to fight, together, no matter the cost. The horizon is painted in shades of gold and red as the twin suns begin to set, casting long shadows over the barren landscape. Jace stands on a high cliff, gazing out over the alien world that now feels a little more like home. The dust and smoke from the final battle have settled, but the echoes of those explosions still linger in his mind. Victory has been hard-earned, but it has come at a cost. He turns to the creature beside him, the Typhor, who stands tall and resolute, its sleek form silhouetted against the fading light. Its once fearful eyes have transformed, now filled with a trust that Jace never imagined could exist between them. The alien creature, who had been a mere survivor in the chaos, has become an ally. No, more than that, an equal. Jace glances at the Typhor, remembering the early days of their uneasy relationship. At first, the creature had been a burden, a responsibility, someone he'd had to protect. But over time, their bond had grown stronger, forged in the fires of battle and tempered by shared loss. The Typhor, once a simple animal driven by survival, had begun to see Jace as more than just a protector. It had come to view him as a friend, a fellow warrior. "Are you ready?" Jace asks quietly, his voice carrying over the still air. The Typhor looks up at him, its eyes soft, its expression one of understanding. It doesn't speak, but Jace feels the weight of its response. They are ready, together. Over the past few days, Jace has seen something change in the Typhor. It no longer flinches at sudden movements, no longer hesitates to act when needed. It fights with him, side by side, each one anticipating the other's next move. Their partnership has evolved from one of necessity to one of genuine camaraderie. And in that evolution, Jace has found something he never expected, a sense of peace. But this isn't the end. Far from it. The galaxy is vast, and the dangers that lurk in its shadows are many. The poachers they had defeated were just a small part of a larger, more sinister force that threatens the very balance of the galaxy. And now, Jace and the Typhor must face whatever comes next, together. A small beeping noise interrupts his thoughts. Jace reaches into his jacket and pulls out a communicator. The screen flickers to life, showing the face of a fellow soldier, a comrade from the mission. "Jace, you've done it. You took down the poachers and brought the Typhor back alive," the soldier says, his voice crackling through the static. "But this is just the beginning. We've intercepted intel on a larger threat. You and your new ally are going to be needed." Jace nods, the weight of the words sinking in. The galaxy is not done with them yet. In fact, their work is just beginning. He looks at the Typhor once more, meeting its gaze. There's no fear in its eyes anymore, only determination. This creature, once an innocent being caught in the crossfire of a conflict it didn't understand, has now become part of a much bigger fight. And Jace knows that with it by his side, he has a fighting chance. The communicator shuts off with a soft click, and Jace takes a deep breath. The future is uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, he feels prepared to face it. He's not just fighting for survival anymore. He's fighting for something greater: justice, freedom, and the hope that maybe, just maybe, there is a way to bring peace to this fractured galaxy. "Let's go," Jace says, his voice filled with conviction. The Typhor nods and moves beside him, stepping lightly over the rocky terrain. Together, they make their way toward the distant mountains, where the rest of their team awaits. They are no longer a human and a creature from another world. They are allies, bound by shared experiences and a mutual understanding of what it means to fight for something greater than themselves. As they travel, Jace reflects on everything that has led them here. The poachers, the battles, the sacrifices, all of it has shaped him into the man he is now. He's no longer just a soldier. He's a protector, a leader, and most importantly, a friend. And he's learned something invaluable: that even in the darkest moments, there is always the possibility for change, for growth, and for alliance. The path ahead is uncertain, But Jace no longer fears what lies in the shadows. With the Typhor by his side, he feels ready to face whatever the galaxy throws their way. Together, they are stronger than they could ever be alone. As they reach the base camp, Jace is greeted by his comrades, all of whom have heard the news of the poacher's defeat and the alliance formed between the human and the Typhor. The soldiers look at the creature with awe and respect, understanding that this bond is not just a triumph of survival, but a symbol of hope. "You did it, Jace," one of the soldiers says, clapping him on the back. "You saved us all." Jace looks over at the Typhor, who stands quietly beside him. "We did it," he corrects, his voice soft but resolute. Together. The soldiers nod, and for the first time, Jace feels a sense of belonging. He has always been a soldier, a lone warrior, fighting for what he believes in. But now he understands that there is strength in unity. There is power in alliances, whether between humans or with creatures from faraway worlds. And as he looks at the Typhor, he knows that this partnership will carry them through whatever challenges lie ahead. The team prepares for their next mission, but Jace can't shake the feeling that this new chapter in his life is just beginning. The galaxy is full of unknowns, but now with the Typhor at his side, he feels ready to face them. They are no longer enemies, no longer strangers. They are allies, bound by trust, respect, and a shared purpose. The night sky is full of stars as Jace looks up, his heart swelling with determination. He doesn't know what the future holds, but he knows one thing for sure. He's not alone anymore. With the Typhor beside him, he knows they will face whatever challenges come their way, together. And as they march into the unknown, their bond solidified in the heat of battle and the quiet moments of reflection, they are no longer just two beings from different worlds. They are a symbol of the possibility of unity, of hope, and of the belief that even in the darkest corners of the universe, light can still shine through. The story ends here, but their journey is far from over. The future awaits, and Jace and the Typhor are ready to meet it head-on. Together, they are unstoppable. Together, they will forge a new path in the galaxy, one filled with challenges, yes, but also with the promise of something greater. The story of their alliance is just beginning, and the galaxy won't know what hit it